While the wait begins for Verified, we will shine our spotlight on Grammy-nominated African jazz singer Somi. She speaks on being the first African female to be nominated in the jazz category of the prestigious Academy Awards, and also on how her time in Nigeria back in 2014 has influenced her sound.
Wash my feet, leave 'em at the door. Your love feels like a holy room. Soothe my sorrows and clean my heart. Holy room.
Breaking borders and changing stereotypes, American-based Rwandan-Ugandan singer Somi Kakoma, simply known as Somi, is changing the face of jazz in Africa and around the world.
Light a candle and let it burn. My love feels like a holy room.
Born in Illinois, United States, growing up in Zambia, and eventually living in New York and even Lagos, Nigeria, Somi, a student of the world, did not expect her path to lead her to jazz. However, she found some commonalities between her life and jazz music.
I would say that I didn't necessarily choose jazz. I think the beauty about the jazz idiom and the genre is the fact that it demands a certain type of improvisation of everybody who participates, right? That's kind of the marker of jazz, at least in the live context. And I think there's something about it that feels like a wonderful metaphor for my life as an East African, you got half Ugandan, half Rwandan, grew up mostly in the States, lived between Zambia, Illinois, now between New York and Lagos and other places in the world, and as a musician, as a global citizen. So I think there's always a sort of social improvisation that happens, and as a result, my music is influenced by all of these different spaces, and I think what jazz does is it allows me to reach to all of the different places and kind of carve out my own sound or storytelling, and hopefully find a way home, through the music.
Since the start of her love and creation of jazz, Somi has gone on to gain global recognition. While the artist has received 2 awards from the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or the NAACP, she also recently made history as the first African woman to be nominated for a Grammy Prize in any of the Academy Awards jazz categories for her album, Holy Room. The artist spoke about the proliferation of African sounds worldwide and its global acceptance.
Right now, it's such an exciting time because for the first time, we are seeing the Western world and the industry at large, the music industry at large, really take a close look at the possibility of music, contemporary music, possibilities of contemporary music coming out of the continent. I think before it was like people had to consider that have been able to really take a center stage. So I think, first of all, that proliferation of African music begins with ourselves. I think there was a real shift, probably like 10 to 15 years ago. There was a real shift where suddenly we started to play ourselves more on the radio, more so than just like the top 40 in the US. Suddenly, now African voices are dominating radio and television, and I think we're just at a point where we're starting to really value our own voice and understand that it's so important, and not to say that we haven't, but I think in an intentional way, to say it's important that we value our voices culturally, because to value who we are culturally is just to value everything about ourselves in society and politics and the ways in which we see the world. So I think that proliferation started from a very internal place, perhaps unknowingly, but now we're seeing that kind of manifestation of that as it's begun to really demand the attention. I think people have been like, oh, there are real numbers there, there's real talent there. There's a quote, I believe Nina Simone made, there's some quote that she said about, you don't have to you don't have to talk about politics, but at the end of the day, you have to live with yourself. Right? And so if I know that I have some sort of platform or some sort of opportunity to create a conversation or just reach a room of people because I have a microphone, then why not talk about real issues. And I'm not saying that I love singing a good love song. I love being able to dream and think about great things and good things and the good life, but I think it's also important to have that conversation. I think sometimes, yes, jazz has historically been a part of that, those movements, those social movements. But I also think, you can identify all kinds of artists in all kinds of genres who are doing that, who are using their platform in that way. And it's really beautiful to see so many artists on the continent really leaning into that, really not being afraid to speak truth, and I think understanding the weight that they carry. I was really following the NSARS movement that was here earlier this year, and I saw so many artists really speaking up in a way that I hadn't seen them speaking about politics before, any kind of social issues before. And I think that's refreshing. I think it's needed. I think a healthy democracy is one that has healthy debate, and I think artists should know that they can be a part of that because of the platform that they carry and because they have eyes and ears on them at all times.
Somi takes the aura from her environment and surroundings and uses that to create quality music after an 18-month sabbatical in Lagos, where she gained
they're both hard cities, but they have deep rewards. I always feel as though it's the type of city where if you show up for the city, if you show up and sort of persevere and push through, then the rewards are immeasurable. I mean, there's so much that inspires me about this place, and I think Nigeria is really a superpower. And if you think about in the energy and the sense of self that was here already in Nigeria, so Lagos to me is, more magic than it is tragic, and I love the spirit of the city. I love the color, the sound, the rhythm, the heat, and the storytelling. I mean, there's so many things. I could really talk about Lagos for quite a while, but there's so many things I love about Lagos, but specifically just the energy that's here and the honesty. You can't live in a city like Lagos and not be willing to tell the truth or see the truth.